I may or may not accidentally have created an all-seeing, all-rotating, big ol' eye. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Cogs and Clouds, where we are building a soon-to-be playable steampunk adventure map on a floating island in the sky. My name is Happy Sock, and I am back from a few weeks break because I had to move places. But now I am back, and I was just checking if everything we've built in the last episode is still working as intended. And my goodness, it does. Look at this! Percy added so much life to this machine with all the sound effects and the particle effects and the spinning rotors. Oh my goodness. And I'm saying rotors because there's not just one. We have 3 rotors just spinning away. And looking at this island, it's really coming together. However, there is just one thing that is currently really bothering me, and that is that it's incredibly lopsided. Everything we've built so far is either the workshop in the middle or these 2 structures at the right-hand side. And it's honestly a miracle that this island isn't tipping over. So that is what I really want to balance out today. But I'd suggest let's just meet up with Percy to see what today's episode has in store for us. I'm so excited to get started and I'm so happy to be back. So sit back and relax and enjoy episode 3 of us building together this adventure map. Percy!
Happy Sock!
I got the results for the Sweet Root vote.
You did too! I got them too!
Amazing, amazing. Shall we wait until the end of this video to reveal it?
Of course we're going to wait until the end of this video.
Yeah, that's the way to go. So, I was wondering, looking at all of these things that are just floating here in nowhere, where does the inventor get his stuff from? Like all of his materials, his building projects, like where does the stuff come from?
Space, maybe?
Space, yeah. Well, how does the inventor get into space?
With a rocket ship.
Percy, I'm gonna be real with you. I am not sure if I can pull off a rocket ship.
Okay, well, then we make space come to him.
Yes!
How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic. I think the connection here would be some observatory.
I think that works.
Okay, let's do an observatory.
Awesome. Well, see you in a bit.
See ya! That is right, everybody. You heard it here first. We are going to build an observatory. And as we are the architects of this very island, we now have a bunch of questions to, well, take care of. For example, the observatory shape. The workshop is already kind of observatory shaped, and I really don't feel like just copying this exact shape. The good thing is, as we are in a creative world and we're in Minecraft, we can use whatever shape we see fit for this project. We want to integrate a minigame into the observatory as well as making it look like an observatory, right? We want people to see the structure and be like, yes, things are being observed. So, how are we going to throw all of these things together into one piece of architecture? Let me just open the editing window, and now you can see the sphere I already kind of prepared, like size-wise and position-wise. As you can guess, this is going to be the base structure for the observatory. Yes, it is floating, yes, it is a sphere, and I feel like it's gonna be just fine, as I imagine this to literally be like a floating eyeball. I don't know, I feel like this is the closest we can get to an observatory without just copying this exact shape. Now, before I bring this sphere to life, I feel like we should change the material it is made of. Because you can't quite see well through a stone wall, but you can see quite well through a cyan-stained glass wall. Okay, so with the base structure in place, I really want to add an exoskeleton, some supporting structure that goes around the observatory, just so it looks a little less like an unsupported glass ball that's just flying in midair. And I think using dark prismarine is a very nice color choice for that. Also, I feel like just doing one half of the ball and then mirroring it to the other side is probably the way to go. Well, we have created a supporting structure that kind of reminds me of a Pokeball. I don't know why, but we now have a lot of circles just wrapping our glass sphere, making it look a lot more supported, which is a good thing because now we want to add what makes the observatory a real observatory. And I'm talking about a telescope. The only issue I have with the telescope is as follows. It's the shape of the telescope that troubles me a bit, because we have so many different angles and they just don't seem to translate too well into Minecraft, at least at this scale. So I might want to try and work out another option to convey the feeling of an observatory without actually having to build around this monstrosity of a shape. So what if instead of a cone shape, we try to kind of replicate a lens of some sorts? I mean, we're really playing into the eyeball theme here, but it's kind of convenient. Maybe we find a way to do these circles kind of tapered into that direction. And maybe that is going to kind of look like a telescope or something that could closely observe stuff that's happening over there. Okay, well, honestly, I don't think it looks as bad as I expected it to. I mean, obviously, it really looks like an eye that is just staring into the void. And of course, we are going to refine all of the shapes a little more. It is definitely not where it's supposed to be, but we are getting closer to chiseling away the shape we want to have for this observatory. Also, I really like this little rim over here. We have to get rid of all of the glass, and I think I want to get rid of this inner layer of the glass so it's actually accessible inside. Which also brings me to another thing we have to take care of. Because speaking of accessibility, our observatory is not accessible at all. We need an entrance, and I think that is what I want to sketch out next before we can continue with adding some more details and some interior. And I feel like we have this very nice circle exactly on the opposite side of our lens, so this might serve as a very nice entranceway into the observatory. And as we already kind of have a circular theme going on, I think it's best if we choose a circular platform for the entryway as well. And with the platform installed, all we have to do is decide on an entry shape, and I think it is also going to be quite circular. And with that, we have marked out all of the important parts our observatory needs. We have the lens to observe and the entranceway to get into it, although you can't really get into it at this point in time because we still didn't put a hole into the wall, and also we didn't put a floor into this sphere. So that's probably what I should get to next. I can't help the feeling that we are just adding more and more eyeball themed things into our observatory. But I think that shouldn't bother us too much, because now comes the second stage of our building process, which I'm very excited about. I want to build a floating stepstone staircase leading upwards to the observatory, probably from over here or something, and I'm very, very excited about that because that is what helps the structure being tied into the island, or tied close to the island. And also, I want to add a bunch of gears and cogs around the structure, as well, that's literally the theme of our series, Cogs and Clouds, and I really want to get into that a lot more. And luckily, we have a bunch of circles just attached to our sphere. See how I get those right now? Circle and sphere. And yes, that is the next step for us. And I'm really, really excited to get started. So let's do this! Oh my goodness, I just had the biggest epiphany for our block palette. Okay, so look at this. We have the dark prismarine and the warp blocks and the copper. Like, if you want to go for this sort of color scheme, these are the blocks to go with. And now then we came in with the acacia and the resin block, and they just give a very, very big contrast in terms of color and saturation. And the resin block just goes so amazingly well with the shroom lights. I mean, those two, they are made for each other. But then I wondered, how can we tie those two together? And that's when I came up with the glazed terracotta options, which I usually don't use in my builds, but for this occasion, they were just perfect. I mean, look at that. We managed to pull off a gradient going from dark greenish prismarine towards shroom lights. That's just amazing. But then it hit me. There was one block missing, and it kind of found me just now. Now hear me out. Skulk. And now with our skulk block, our color palette is complete. We now have this really juicy, dark and sparkly block that fits color-wise but also theme-wise with the little stars. I had to try it out immediately in our build, and I really love how it looks. I put it above our awesome mosaic at the entrance as well as inside the lens. And oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this block. I almost forgot about its existence, but it blends so well with everything we got going on in here, especially as we can use the skulk vein to blend it in with every block that kind of sits next to the skulk. And that way it makes it a lot easier. It really looks like the stars are consuming the inside of our eye. And from this side, you can see that our lens doesn't have an outer layer of glass anymore, which makes it look a lot more intense if you ask me. But I don't think it's gonna be a problem as we won't be seeing this side from the island too much. But oh my gosh, look at how the stars go so well with the prismarine. I love it so much. And of course we now have the valves at the side of our observatory, which kind of give off the feeling that you can sort of rotate the eyeball into every single direction. I may or may not accidentally have created an all-seeing, all-rotating, big ol' eye. And of course now we have connected it up to the island so we can fuel it with the energy we're generating over there. So I think we're doing a lot of good progress here. But now comes the moment we've all been waiting for, at least I have been waiting for this moment. We're going to add the staircase. We have a walkway kind of indicated going off of here, so maybe that's a good starting point. I'm gonna open my Axiom editing window and we're just gonna add like a little cylinder. Now with our separate X and Z options, we can start squeaking it around, making it a little less symmetrical. And once I hit paste copy, it is going to, well, it's going to paste a copy, let's be real. And I want to leave little gaps in between. So I'm just gonna do a little mock-up for you, just so you know the process I'm going through here. I'm going to move it up one bit, slightly changing the shape of it, moving it just a bit, pasting another copy, and eventually this is going to give us just a little bit of a fun parkour challenge to get up to the observatory. You get the idea. I'm just gonna mark out all the positions for our stepstones and then I'm gonna go in and refine them and texture them. And you know, initially I was thinking about doing a gradient from like mossy cobblestone or stone that kind of ends up in our dark prismarine. However, now that we've got our skulk block, I'm really not sure if I want to do that instead. I mean, we pulled off this gradient behind me. It shouldn't be as hard to do something going from mossy cobblestone to skulk, right? So let's see what we come up with on the go. Well, I have been recording this segment now for 5, 6, 7 times. I don't even remember. Because I've been trying to run my own parkour and failing miserably. But trust me, it is doable. And I really want to prove that to you by doing it on camera. And, you know, it should be possible. I think I did it once. But then I always seem to fall down. However, I wanted to tell you how happy I am with the outcome of this parkour, because I just love the transition from the cobblestone, like the mossy cobblestone, and the closer you get to the observatory, the more prismarine you have in our floating stepstones, which is such a lovely little detail if you ask me. But yeah, I have to concentrate because this is happening all the time. Oh gosh, I'm hurting! I died. Okay. I didn't know you could die in creative mode, but I guess you learn something new every day, huh? Oh yeah, we totally made it to the top now. We totally, legitly did the parkour without cheating and flying and anything. I made it. So now that we're back inside our observatory, we can tackle the next step, which is the interior. As I said before, this is going to contain a minigame, and instead of filling this observatory full to the brim with details and stuff, I really want to try and accommodate said minigame. And without spoiling too much about it, I'm going to tell you that it's going to involve some glowstone dust, or rather stardust, and some low gravity settings. But for more details, you are going to have to check Percy's video, as he is going to create everything that is going to happen inside here. Except for the interior, of course, which we're going to tackle now. I feel like we should add some platforms in here. Something like this. Let's see how big we want this to be. It shouldn't be too big, just a little platform you can land on. Maybe 7 is good. And now we have the next decision to make. What should the platform be made of? We have the option of the prismarine and the warped and the copper. Maybe we should go with copper this time. Okay, yeah. I think we gotta have to switch to slabs here, but all in all, I can see this coming together. Oh yeah, I can totally see these kind of platforms scattered around here. Now, I don't want to make it just too cluttered, as I said, but I'm just gonna figure out where to put these conveniently. Maybe we can attach some at the top. Well, we will see. Everything we're doing today is kind of winged, so enjoy the process. Am I going crazy? Because I thought the whole time I have been kind of eyeballing the process of building this observatory. However, the more time I spent building this, the more I get the feeling that I, in fact, am the one being eyeballed. Okay, but jokes aside, I really love how the observatory turned out, everybody. Look at all of these platforms. I scattered around all these little plants, so it kind of ties into our skulk theme, consuming the eyeball. We have this very cool feature of the calibrated skulk sensor, I believe it is. I've put it inside the circle because I feel like it kind of helps magnifying whatever the observatory is observing, even though I don't exactly understand the mathematics behind it, because I'm not the inventor, I'm just the architect. And yes, the control room. We now have a control room down here. Oh gosh, we have a lot of noises going on because I scattered all of these skulk sensors around. This might be apt to change. I'm not sure at this point in time because Percy is going to have to work out the exact functionalities of the minigame. But on our end, I feel like we did a very great job at building this. And now, just because I haven't done it yet, I really want to see what this observatory looks like with shaders. So let's activate them. Oh, this is so gorgeous. I love it. Look, the skulk sensor is even glowing a bit. This is looking so magical. Oh, I love how this turned out. I'm so incredibly happy. I know I'm repeating myself. And from the outside, oh gosh, it's looking so three-dimensional. The staircase, our stepstones are really tying it in. It looks like it's now really part of the island. And I'm so incredibly happy. I had no idea what the end result of this is gonna be like, but I'm so satisfied. And we also have this kind of post-apocalyptic vine action going on hanging down here, and this kind of module that just sits here, which is kind of just an indicator for the supply of energy that runs inside the observatory. Oh, I also want to see what it looks like when it's nighttime, so give me a second. Oh my gosh, look at that! We now have a glowing observatory. I don't even remember putting all of these lights in there. I mean, obviously we have this room light we've been talking about, but I didn't even remember putting what's inside there. I think it's a sea lantern. The night view is gorgeous. Back we are at daytime, and I feel like we did such a great job at balancing out this island. We now really have a counterpoint to our greenhouse, and we have the floating elements of these cloud catchers picked up in the observatory as well. Plus, via our Stepstone Staircase, it is connected to the island, and it's even connected energetically with our little pipe down there. So I feel like we did a great job. Look at the shading. Oh my goodness. Okay, at this point, I'm really now just gushing over my own work here. So it's probably time to just meet up with Percy, because if you remember, I asked you to vote for the sweet route we want to add into our adventure map. And it's now probably time to reveal the results. Oh, am I late for the sweet route reveal?
You are actually exactly on time. I planted all of them.
Oh, look at
all of
those.
the brand new ones. Do you wanna know which one has won?
I want to know.
Well, interestingly, with a very whopping 75%, it is actually this one.
Oh.
It's the orange one with the beetroot shape that has won.
It's a gorgeous sweet root. Look at all of them.
And actually, as it happens, I have some on me. So do you wanna give that a taste?
Oh,
give it a little nibble. Let's go try. That's good, isn't it?
It is sweet. Aw.
So thanks everybody for voting.
Yes.
This was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm very, very glad to see the votes all come together in this, well, farmland.
No, yeah, absolutely. And when the map is released, well, everybody can of course try it for themselves, the sweet roots.
Yeah. And there you have it, everybody. We have a winner for our sweet root vote, and once again, thank you so much for voting and taking part in this building of the adventure map. And I know these kind of episodes take a long time to get out to you guys, so I really wanted to say thank you for your patience and for your lovely feedback and your comments. I read each and every one of them, and we are very grateful to have you all along the way. So with that being said, I am looking very much forward to the next episode. Take good care of yourselves, everybody. I will see you hopefully in the next episode. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to stay tuned to this progress. Bye bye!